17 में ऑफेंसेस अगेंस्ट प्रॉपर्टी, ऑफेंसेस अगेंस्ट प्रॉपर्टी 303 से लेकर 334, 303 से लेकर 334 ऑफेंसेस अगेंस्ट प्रॉपर्टी। थेफ्ट चैप्टर 17 of BNS deals with what offenses against property. दूसरा में theft has been defined under section 303. The subject matter of theft can be of movable property. चौथा में which one of the following is essential ingredient for the offense of theft under section 303. B में है dishonestly move करना पड़ता है। पांचवा में है section 303 of the BNS defines offense for theft और B में punishment provide punishment of the theft। छठा में है punishment for theft on first conviction under section 3032 under the BNS may be extended up to 3 years or fine। सातवां में under which section of the BNS committing theft of computer from a shop is punishable section 305। आठवां में which one of the following is not correct। B में for theft property must be removed out of the possession of the owner of the property। नौवां में है which one is not essential element of theft, ownership of property। 10वां में which one of the following is not correct in respect to the definition of theft, out of ownership of that person। कंसेंट होना चाहिए, रिमूवल होना चाहिए प्रॉपर्टी, विथ इंटेंट होना चाहिए, डिसऑनेस्ट इंटेंट। 11 में है प्लानिंग टू कमिट अ थेफ्ट इज नो ऑफेंस, प्लानिंग टू थेफ्ट इज नो ऑफेंस। 12 में है थेफ्ट इज एन ऑफेंस अगेंस्ट मूवेबल प्रॉपर्टी। 13 में है इन ऑर्डर टू कॉन्स्टिट्यूट थेफ्ट व्हाट इज नॉट एन इंग्रेडिएंट इन बीएनएस, कॉमन इंटेंशन। डिसऑनेस्ट इंटेंशन होना चाहिए, मूविंग प्रॉपर्टी होना चाहिए, मूविंग होना चाहिए प्रॉपर्टी का, और मूवेबल प्रॉपर्टी होना चाहिए। विच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग इज नॉट एन एसेंशियल एलिमेंट ऑफ थेफ्ट, डिसऑनेस्ट इंटेंशन, रिमूवल फ्रॉम पोसेशन, इमूवेबल प्रॉपर्टी। जब तक इमूवेबल प्रॉपर्टी नहीं होगा तब तक थेफ्ट नहीं हो पाएगा। विच वन ऑफ द फॉलोइंग इज नॉट ए कैरेक्टरिस्टिक ऑफ एन ऑफेंस ऑफ थेफ्ट, मूवमेंट ऑफ द प्रॉपर्टी इज नॉट नेसेसरी, मूवमेंट ऑफ द प्रॉपर्टी इज नॉट नेसेसरी, मूवमेंट होना जरूरी है। 16 में विच वन ऑफ द फॉलोइंग इज नॉट ए करेक्ट इंग्रेडिएंट ऑफ द ऑफेंस ऑफ द थेफ्ट, प्रॉपर्टी मस्ट बी टेकन विदाउट कंसेंट ऑफ द ओनर ऑफ द प्रॉपर्टी। 17 में है पनिशमेंट फॉर थेफ्ट इन ड्वेलिंग हाउस और मीन्स ऑफ ट्रांसपोर्टेशन और प्लेस ऑफ वर्शिप, दिस इज प्रोवाइडेड अंडर सेक्शन 305। 18 में है which of the following acts constitute the commissioning of theft, C finds a necklace in the bedroom of D and C retains the necklace। 19 में A meets a bullock carrying a box of treasure, he drives the bullock in a certain direction or in order that he may dishonestly take the treasure, in this case A commits theft as soon as the bullock begins to move। 20 में है A takes some ornaments belonging to B out of B's possession without B's consent with the intention of keeping it until he obtains money from B as a reward for its restoration, A is guilty of theft। 21 में है A government servant removed a file from his colleague's office to his house, made it available to an outsider and then returned it back to the office the same day in the evening, A is guilty of which of the following offense, theft। 22 में A makes an attempt to pick the pocket of the B by thrusting his hand into B's pocket. A fails in the attempt in consequence of B's having nothing in the pocket, A is guilty of attempt to theft। 23 में A cuts down 2 trees on his neighbor's field without his permission and takes them away without neighbor's knowledge, it is a theft। Y owed some money to X. X removed the bullock of Y grazing by the side of the stream and kept it tied in his own house. When Y asked him to release the bullock, X told him that he would do so when the money was paid. X is guilty of theft। 25 में है A finds a ring belonging to Z on a table in the house which Y occupies. A dishonestly removes the ring. A has committed which of the following offences? Theft. 26 में A removes B's book from his house without his consent with the intention to return it to him if he, as a friend, rewards him for the return. A is liable for theft. 27 में है A had consensual sexual relations with Jed's wife. She gives to A valuable property which A knows to belong to her husband. Jed and she has no authority from Jed to give. A takes the property dishonestly. Which one of the following offences has been committed by A? Theft. 28 में है A and B, who are cadets in the Indian Air Force, take out from the Jodhpur aerodrome on aircraft without the authority of the commandant and fly it away to Pakistan. What offence has been committed by them? Theft. 29 में है A is invited by B for a cup of tea. While B is in the kitchen preparing tea, A finds a golden ring on the table. He picks it up and places it somewhere in the room with the intention of dishonestly taking it away sometime later. A commits theft. इसमें है A handed over his watch to a watchsmith for repairing. In order to not pay the repairing charges, A picked up his watch from shop when the watchsmith was not looking. In this case, A is guilty of theft. 31 में A having pawned his gold locket to Jed takes it out of Jed's possession without Jed's consent. Not having paid what he borrowed on the gold locket, A has committed an offence under section 303 of the BNS. 32 में है theft after preparation made for causing death, hurt or restraint in order to committing of the theft is punishable in which section of the BNS? B में है section 307. 33 में है A commits theft of the property in B's possession and while committing this theft he has a loaded pistol under the garment kept for the purpose of the hurting B. In case B should resist, the offence committed by A is defined under which section of the BNS? Section 307. 34 में है A in good faith believing property belonging to Z to be his own property take the property out of B's possession. A is guilty of no offence. 35 में है X enters Z's dwelling house armed with gun to steal jewelry. X is able to successfully perform the theft and steal the jewelry. X, however, does not use the gun and simply leaves after successfully taking the jewelry out of the possession of Z. Under which section of the law is X liable to be punished? Section 307. 36 में theft by clerk or servant of the property in possession of a master is punishable in which section of the BNS? Section 307. 306. Snatching. A snatching is defined under section 304. Under what circumstances theft is a snatching? In order to commit theft, the offender suddenly or quickly or forcibly seizes, secures or grabs, takes away from any person or its possession any movable property. तीसरा में है punishment given for snatching is imprisonment for either description for a term which may extend to 3 years and fine. Extortion. Extortion is defined in 308 of the BNS. The offence of extortion cannot be committed against which of the following? None. तीसरा में K telephonically threatens M to publish a defamatory statement unless he gives him rupees 20,000 to K. K has committed the offence of extortion. चौथा में A by putting B in fear of grievous hurt dishonestly induces B to sign in blank paper and delivers it to A. B after signing that paper delivers it to A. A has committed extortion. पांचवा में है X obtains property from Z by saying that your child is in the hands of my gang and will be put to death unless you send us 10 lakh rupees. X commits extortion. छठा में है inducing person with dishonest intention to part with his property by putting him in fear of physical injury amounts to an offense of extortion. सातवां में है A by putting Z in fear of grievous hurt dishonestly induces Z's to sign or affix his seal on delivers the property to A. A has committed extortion. आठवां में है A police officer obtains a sum of rupees 10,000 from B by putting him under the fear that he will immediately be put into prison and will not be released for months. The police officer is guilty of extortion. Noma A threatens Z by sending a message through an electronic device that your child is in my possession and will be put to death unless you send me 1 lakh rupees. A has committed extortion. Dasma when by putting any person in fear of injury he is dishonestly induced by another to deliver property, it is extortion. 11 whoever commits extortion shall be punished with imprisonment which may extend to 7 years or fine or both. 12 section 3084 BNS relates to putting person in fear of death or grievous hurt in order to commit extortion. Robbery. पहला हो गया to constitute the crime of robbery which of the following is necessary, either theft or extortion. दूसरा में X meets Y in the way Y points out a dangerous knife to X and demands his watch. X gives the watch to Y. What offense has been committed? Robbery. तीसरा में A meets B on national highway, shows him a pistol and demands B's purse. B in consequence surrender his purse. Which one of the following offences was committed by A? Robbery. चौथा में A holds Z down and fraudulently takes Z's money and jewels from Z's cloth without Z's consent. A is guilty of committing robbery. पांचवा में है A meets B and his child in a jungle. A takes the child and threatens to kill him unless B delivers his purse. A has committed robbery. इंस्टेंट फियर ऑफ डेथ जब पड़ता है ना तो रॉबरी हो जाता है. छठा A pulled an earring away from woman's ear and thereby tore and wounded her ear. A is guilty of robbery. सातवां में है a contingent of police led by inspector sub inspector is on patrolling duty at night. They are attacked by two criminals in which one constable is severely injured and criminals escaped with their property. Here a case can be made under BNS for the offense of robbery. आठवां में X who stole jewelry from a jeweler shop caused fear of instant hurt to Z who tried to stop him while carrying away the stolen watch. Here X can be held liable for the offense of robbery. नौमा में minimum number of offenders for the commission of robbery under BNS must be one person. दसवां में which one of the following statement is not correct? In every robbery there are at least 2 person. ये correct नहीं है, एक आदमी से भी robbery हो सकता है. 11 में which offense does not require a minimum number of 5 person? Robbery. 12 में the offense of theft becomes robbery when it is coupled with force. 13 में under which section of the BNS attempt to commit robbery is punishable? 309 का 5. 14 में punishment for committing robbery on highway between sunset and sunrise is imprisonment which may extend to 14 years and fine. हाईवे पर जब रॉबरी होगा तो 14 years प्लस फाइन हो सकता है पनिशमेंट. Which of the following statement is false? None of these. सब सही है मतलब. Dacoity. Which one of the following factor distinguishes robbery from dacoity? Number of offenders. Which section of the BNS has defined dacoity? 310 का 1 dacoity. तीसरा में है X and his 4 associates attempted to commit theft at place of Y and caused hurt to Y. They were forced to retreat without collecting the booty. Because of stiff resistance by the inmates, they are guilty of dacoity. चौथा में है robbery is dacoity if committed conjointly by 5 or more than 5 persons. पांचवा में है what is the punishment provided for डकैती? Imprisonment for life or with rigorous imprisonment which may extend to 10 years and fine. छठा में है what is the minimum imprisonment prescribed for the use of deadly weapons in डकैती under BNS? 7 years. सातवां में है making preparation to commit डकैती is punishable in the BNS under सेक्शन 310 का 4. आठवां में है प्रिपरेशन टू कमिट डकैती इज ए पनिशेबल ऑफेंस. नौवां में है मैच लिस्ट 1 विथ लिस्ट 2. सी में है ए का चौथा बी का 1. ए का चौथा थेफ्ट मूवेबल प्रॉपर्टी ऑब्टेन्ड विदाउट कंसेंट. बी में मूवेबल प्रॉपर्टी ऑब्टेन्ड विदाउट कंसेंट बाय इंस्टेंट वायलेंस रॉबरी. मूवेबल प्रॉपर्टी ऑब्टेन्ड विदाउट कंसेंट इंड्यूस्ड बाय फियर. फियर में आ जाएगा और यहाँ 6% जहां आ गया तो ये हो जाएगा डकैती और ये हो जाएगा एक्सटॉर्शन. 10वां में है विच वन ऑफ द फॉलोइंग इज नॉट करेक्ट मैच. सी रॉबरी. ये 304 नहीं है, 304 जो है स्नैचिंग का होगा. ये हो जाएगा 309. misappropriation of property. The law relating to criminal misappropriation of property is given under section 314 of the BNS. In case of criminal misappropriation, a subsequent intention must be dishonest. तीसरा में A finds a government promissory note belonging to Z bearing a blank endorsement A. Knowing that the note belongs to Z, pledges it with a banker as a security for loan, intending at a future time to restore it to Z. A has committed an offense of criminal misappropriation of property. A and B being joint owners of an elephant, A takes the elephant out of B's possession, intending to use it. A then sells the elephant and appropriates the whole proceeds to his own use. What offense has A committed? Dishonest misappropriation. पांचवा में है A finds a valuable diamond. Not knowing to whom it belongs, A sells it immediately without attempting to discover the owner. A is guilty of criminal misappropriation of property. छठा में A finds a purse with money. Not knowing to whom it belongs, he afterwards discovers that it belongs to B and appropriates to his own use. A is guilty of criminal misappropriation. सातवां में है A finds a rupee on the highway. Not knowing to whom the rupee belongs, A picks up the rupee. A has committed the offense of none of the above. आठवां में A's wallet falls out of his pocket unknown to him. His friend B, who sees this, picks up the same. On finding the wallet contains rupees 2000, B uses the money for his own purpose. After 6 hours, B puts rupees 2000 back in the wallet and returns the same to A. B is guilty of criminal misappropriation of property. नौमा में है A finds a watch on the floor of a state transport bus. While he was leaving it as the last passenger, he picked it up and put it in his pocket instead of returning to the state transport authority. Next day, he sold it. A is liable for criminal misappropriation. 10वां में A poor student finds a letter on the road containing a bank note. From the content and direction of letter, he learns whom the note belongs. A uses that note for buying some books. A has committed the offense of dishonest misappropriation of property. 11 में dishonest misappropriation of property possessed by deceased person at the time of his death is an offense punishable under BNS in section 315. 12 में है Z dies in possession of furniture of money. His servant A, before the money becomes into the possession of any such person who is entitled to, dishonestly misappropriates it. A has committed offense under which of the following section of the BNS? Section 315. 13 में है according to BNS, taking property dishonestly from the dead body amount to offense of criminal misappropriation. 14 में है unlawful removal of ornaments from the body of a deceased person amounts to criminal misappropriation. 15 में है removal of ornaments from the body of after after causing his death constitute an offense under section 315 of the BNS. Criminal breach of trust. पहला में है the offense of criminal breach of trust is described in section 316 of the BNS. दूसरा में है criminal breach of trust is related to both movable और immovable properties. तीसरा में है criminal breach of trust is an offense signifying entrustment. चौथा में in an offense of criminal breach of trust what is necessarily involved property. पांचवा में if a person entrusted with a property dishonestly converts it to his own house he commits criminal breach of trust. छठा में an offense against property may be criminal breach of trust only. सातवां में A who was entrusted by B with certain blocks for printing the catalog prints catalog of a rival's firm with the same block. A is guilty of criminal breach of trust. आठवां में है A sends a mobile phone to his friend through his servant B. The servant took the phone at his house and used it over a period of time. B is guilty of the offense of criminal breach of trust. नौवां में है Z going on a journey entrusts his golden plate to A till Z shall return. A carries the plate to market and sells it. What crime was committed by A? Criminal breach of trust. 10वां में है A carrier is entrusted by Z with property to be carried by water. A dishonestly misappropriates the property. A has committed which one of the following offense? Criminal breach of trust. Thank you.